Hey guys, I'm Bria.
And I'm Chrissy.
And these last 2 weeks, we've been going through hell.
To everyone who's been offering support to Bria and I, thank you so much. And you've heard Bria share her side of the story, and you've heard me share my side of the story. So today we wanted to tell you what we've both learned as a couple and how things are going to be different moving forward.
I think it's been so incredible to see how much support we've gotten from you all and how much we've been able to support you guys. We put them out there not knowing how many people are affected by alcoholism and how many people have partners who are alcoholics. So we just hope that, you find the help that you need and your partner finds the help they need.
Now we want to discuss how it affects our relationship, what we've learned, and what are the next steps moving forward.
And mostly, why do we choose each other and why do we want to stay together?
So something that was different before I relapsed was that I didn't necessarily always feel safe to come to Bria with what I was struggling with. I felt safe with her as a partner, but my sobriety before was entirely basically based on the fear of losing her and the fear of our relationship deteriorating because of it. When I had these very low moments or slip-ups over the past couple of years, I did not feel safe to tell Bria because I felt like all of these years of hard work and me doing well or staying sober or working hard for the relationship was going to be for nothing, and my drinking slip-up would ruin everything.
And also the fact that I gave you an ultimatum 5 years ago saying if you ever drink again, I would leave you, was a lot of pressure to put on anyone. Now I'm realizing this is a disease. Like, this is not something that necessarily is 100% something Chrissy can control. She can take steps to move further in her life to get it under control. But there's going to be relapses, and that's what I'm learning in my Al-Anon meetings, which are meetings for people who have partners or family members or friends who are alcoholics.
Addiction is definitely not something that you can be scared sober from. Like, you could make promises all day like I did in the past, I will never drink again, and genuinely want that in the moment. But even as I'm learning, addiction does not work that way, and it takes a huge amount of steps and sense of community of other people who are going through what you're going through to have the strength to stay sober.
You're also learning about what the definition of being sober is.
In the past, I've claimed I've been sober for so many years, and I did not realize, which I understand I was sober from alcohol, but I was not sober entirely because I was still smoking weed. I was using it as a medicinal tool to try to help my PTSD, and all the while justifying, no, I'm sober, when in fact now I'm learning if you're smoking or doing any other mind-altering substance, you are not fully sober.
But I also want to give you credit in the fact that you were sober from alcohol.
It was definitely not easy for me to give up weed and give up drinking. I crumbled, and now I'm really committed to being fully sober in my life. Which is the first time you've seen that in our entire almost 7-year relationship.
I'm so excited for you to be present. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with her where I just don't feel that she's on the same page. She's an incredibly, interesting human, and we have great conversations, and we have so much depth and so many wonderful things to talk about. But when she's intoxicated or when she's high, I don't feel that same person, and I feel lonely. I feel lonely sitting next to my partner. So I can't tell you how excited I am for these next steps of getting you, Chrissy, the person I married, and you present. I'm just so excited about this next chapter.
I love you. These past 17 days of being sober are the longest stretch of days that I've been in about 9 years of being sober. The longest stretch of time in mine and Bria's relationship, being fully present and fully sober. And I guess the word I would use to describe it is just awake. Even if I'm not all the way rested, I am awake to my life and to the things happening in it, and that just feels like such a gift.
So honesty and trust. 2 of the most important things that you can have in a relationship, and something that is not very easy for an addict to do. And I am really working on trying to separate the fact that my partner is not dishonest, my partner is not a liar, that the addict in my partner may have lied to me. And I'm really working on separating that. I don't ever want to look at Chrissy and not believe her or not trust her. What I'm learning in my Al-Anon meetings is to not go, check the freezer to see if she's hiding vodka, or check her breath, or call her and ask her where she is. Like, I have to trust her. She has to want it. It can't be me who wants it. Granted, I do want it. I want her to be sober, but it can't come from me. It has to come from her, or nothing is ever going to change. I have to get to a place where I just trust her, and I have to be okay with whatever happens. If she relapses, that's what happens. If she doesn't, that's what happens. And this is her life. I have to just be a supportive partner. And that's scary because I like control and I like to have things, where I understand and can, feel safe in a situation. But I have to let go of control for sure in this.
Something that I've been fearful of in the past is if I have told Bria I have a craving or I want to drink, or that I did make a mistake and drink, like 3 years ago, she would get outraged. She would get so scared. She would think life is over, and it was terrifying for me. Aside from dealing with anger, it was just also as if all the work I was doing was for nothing. And so I think that it's something important to say, that if you are a partner of somebody who's struggling with addiction, it's not your responsibility to fix them. Bria has to prioritize herself, take care of herself. But I think it is very important for you, if your partner who's struggling with addiction is choosing to be honest and vulnerable with you, for you to not attack them for doing that. Something I did not feel in the past was safe to confide in Bria with struggles I was going through when it came to my addiction. And that is something that I know she's working very hard to shift, so that moving forward, if I tell her, hey, I'm thinking about weed, or I want to drink, which I haven't wanted to drink, but I've thought about getting high almost every day. Being able to tell her that, and that can help take the power out of that craving. I'm not going to necessarily go act on that. In fact, telling her makes me not want to act on it, but I need to feel safe to express that so that I can stay committed and driven to continue my sobriety.
Absolutely. The last thing in the world I could possibly want is my partner to not feel comfortable or safe telling me what's going on in their mind. Like, that's devastating to me, and something I definitely feel a lot of guilt about. I want you to know that I am not going to judge you. And if you have those cravings or you do have a relapse, I'm going to be here. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to know my limits. I definitely don't. I know some people in the comments are like, well, don't be a doormat. Don't get walked on. And I definitely know I'll know what my limits are. So you don't need to worry about me in that sense, like giving in too easily. But I do know that this is an addiction, and she is doing the things that she needs to do to get past it.
I think that's what you also know, is that one, when I'm sober, I'm incredibly honest and very transparent. And two, that I'm fighting for my life here. I'm not trying to have Bria be a doormat and think, oh, I have all these free passes to go relapse again. Like, I am doing everything in my power to have a healthy mind and a healthy slate to move forward from. Basically starting out with full honesty to myself, to my partner, and about the work I need to do.
And I think additionally, you're holding yourself accountable, not only with me, but with yourself, with you guys. It's not to add more pressure, but like accountability is always good.
I think accountability is great. I mean, just as an example, I was in a live stream last night, which we are documenting this. If you ever want to check out our live streams, it's younow.com/BriaAndChrissy, where we get very real. And talk about what's going on. But last night I was in a live stream, and I knew that the audience was worrying about me going to the store, because when I last did this, I came home with vodka and was drinking in the broadcast out of sight. And so for accountability for myself, peace of mind for you and for them, I just got my license and my passport, any form of ID that could be used to buy alcohol, and I put it in vision of them, face down of course, so that they had that peace of mind while I went to the grocery store, and I had the peace of mind of, even if I had a craving, I have no means to purchase anything.
I encourage you all to find support too. In these comments, you will not believe how many people have stories to tell, and reach out and create that community. And it's amazing. That's what this Al-Anon meetings and the AA meetings is creating a community and creating accountability.
But an addict has to have a willingness to show up and fight their addiction. If you're not ready and somebody else is pushing you to do it, like, that is when you'll fall into setbacks. You have to want it for yourself. You have to want to be healthy for you, which is what I realized.
Where do you think our relationship was before the overdose 2 weeks ago, and how do you think it's changed in the last 2 weeks?
I think that where we were before my relapse was definitely healing. We've done a lot of healing behind the scenes over the last year, and grown so much as a couple and individually. I think we got into a fantasy of we're doing so much better, and really weren't digging deep into all of the things that either one of us was experiencing. But I think we were doing so much better than we had been.
And what about now? What has changed?
You know, I think that sometimes hitting rock bottom can really rejuvenate you, and that's what you need as I'm learning to heal and recover. And I genuinely feel like this experience has, one, bonded us together even more closely, but also got all of our things out on the table, full honesty. And I really feel for us, it got a fundamental priority page aligned, where we were like, okay, we both need peace. So that meant for us, it's not good for us to stay in LA. We need to move and find peace.
Right.
We both know we want to be with each other, and we are married and committed in sickness and in health.
Right. Also, for me, like, Chrissy was always saying things like, I want to go ride horses. I want you to go do things on your own and do things that make you happy and prioritize yourself. Because I've been so worried about Chrissy for so many years with so many different reasons that you guys know I've been following, that I really feel like maybe I kind of lost myself along the way. And going to these meetings, I just am so on this me train. Like, I want to make my partner happy, of course, but like, I really, really want to make myself happy.
I think something that I felt actually a lot of pressure from in the past was I desperately need a lot of independence. I need alone time. It's how I recharge. And I also felt a responsibility to provide for Bria, because she very much was needing my companionship, needing me, or so she thought. And I felt like a burden. I felt a burden of not feeling like I could do enough for her to fulfill what you needed, when in reality, Bria needed more of herself. And she didn't know that, and I didn't know how to give that to her. And once it was kind of forced upon us, you're absolutely, you've been doing this for a year, kind of this evolution, but this has really put you right front and center, that you've got to put yourself first.
Yeah.
For us to be healthier, and for you to be healthier, and for me to be healthier, and it's been incredible. To the point where I'm the one missing you, which I think is so healthy.
Yeah, Chrissy.
I've wanted that for a long time.
Chrissy's like, wait, you're going and doing something else, but don't you want to hang out? I'm like, I love hanging out with her. She's my best friend. She's my favorite person in the world. But now I'm just like getting so recharged. Yeah, this new sense of like independence. It's so fun.
I think that the way this experience could have torn us apart is if Bria, like in the beginning, right after the relapse, she's like, how would I have any self-respect if I don't end the relationship?
Yep.
In reality, that's kind of letting other promises, other things live her life for her. What would be the right thing is for her to listen to her heart. And if it felt right to leave, it was too much, then she should go. But it didn't really matter a promise from the past, because in the past you didn't know any better. You know, your self-respect is doing what's right for Bria, what's right for your heart. And for you, that was to stick by me and to keep fighting with me, fighting for yourself. I think it could have torn us apart, that it would have ripped our relationship apart. Bria's been learning that she's not been putting herself first. It's been just as much of a period of growth and learning for her as it has been for me.
To the people saying like, how could you leave your partner or somebody you love when they're going through a hard time or distressed or at their lowest, I would say that, you know, you can love somebody so much, but in the end, you have to take care of yourself. And if taking care of yourself is staying with that person, then by all means, stay with that person. But if it is too hurtful and detrimental to your life, you're gonna need to take care of yourself first. And it is no one else's place to judge the decision someone makes during a hard time.
As far as meetings go, most of y'all know I've been going to AA, and that's obviously it's a very private experience, but I know that moving forward I want that to be a very regular part of my life, and I want to be going to them multiple times a week, probably for the rest of my life. I'm learning that if sobriety doesn't come first, everything else kind of falls. You don't have your job, you don't have your relationships, you don't have all of those good things in your life.
I really want to prioritize our relationship over our career, which we've been prioritizing our career for the last 3 to 4 years, ever since we moved out to LA, because when you come to LA, you're supposed to grind and work and just really focus on success. And the only success that's the most important to me in my life is my happiness, and my happiness with my partner and living a fulfilling, peaceful life. Like that to me is the ultimate success.
There was an amazing quote that I saw the day after I relapsed, which said, ego says, when everything falls into place, I'll feel peace. Spirit says, when I feel peace, everything will fall into place. And that's screamed at me in terms of what we really need in our life. You know, I feel like LA is an incredibly ego-driven place, and not that people can't find peace here, but for us, and I think for our spirit, we have to find peace, and for us, I know everything will fall into place. So that's what we're going to be prioritizing, and I think that good things are going to come from it. You know, what I'm learning in my groups is that for people who are addicts, like, sobriety just opens so many new doors in your life and the way you think, and I just feel like this move is going to be evident of that as well. I love you so much. I'm so glad we're so on board for the journey with each other.
I feel like we're on the same page.
Yes. Which, this is something that is so important, not just if you're battling addiction, it is just so imperative in your life, having supportive people around you. And not just people that are supportive of you individually, something we are finding. It is so important to have people who support you, which includes your relationships, it includes your choices. Having positive people around you is of the utmost importance for a healthy mindset and for just your well-being.
Absolutely. And it's becoming more and more apparent to us that we want to have just very loving and supportive people around us. And that's not always the easiest thing to do or to find, but I think that, you know, if your heart is in the right place, you know, you also can find really loving and supportive people who will support you and your relationship.
Yeah, somebody not supporting your relationship is also someone not supporting you, which has been a really hard pill for me to swallow. That's painful, but when you find those people and you surround yourself with those like-minded folks, it's going to benefit you and them in the end.
I just want, again, to reiterate that I know that Chrissy did not choose this. She did not choose to hurt me. She has a disease and she has an addiction. And why would anyone choose to go through that or hurt someone that they care about? I just want you to know that I fully understand that, and I am not harboring any resentment or anything like that towards you. I just want what's best for you.
Thank you so much. I think that I was having a lot of guilt and self-blame because I didn't really understand as much either. It's like, if you're an alcoholic, don't drink, and it's not in any way that simple. Thank you for forgiving me, and I'm really working on forgiving myself.
I think the biggest way that we're going to find peace is we are so excited to move out of LA. We leave LA in about 2 weeks. We are tired of whatever this place has done, toxicity to us individually as a relationship, and we are so excited to leave to a more peaceful place that has hikes and beauty.
The Pacific Northwest. It feels like heaven on earth.
We're moving to Washington, and we could not be happier.
So why are we choosing to stay together?
Because look at this face. She's the cutest thing.
Ow.
Sorry, I just pulled her hair.
Over these past almost 7 years, our love has gotten us through so many trials and tribulations. Our love has gotten us through so many hurdles. And I would say why our love is getting us through this is because it still feels like home. Bria feels like home to me. The love that she gives me feels like home to me. And the love in our relationship, our marriage, feels like home. So that's why.
I feel like your heart is my home.
Yeah.
And I love that my makeup is on your nose. It's like the home to my makeup is on her nose. I love you.
That's why we're staying together.
I feel like we can get through anything.
My hair.
We can get through this, you guys. We can get through.
Yes, I can.
Thank you guys for watching this video, and thank you so much to the thousands of you who have reached out on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and private messages and emails and texts and phone calls, and we are so touched by the amount of love and support that we have gotten, and we just want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And to anybody who's struggling, just know that there is support and love out there. We highly recommend you go to AA meetings or go to Al-Anon meetings or whatever program that is working for you. Thank you guys, and we will see you sometime soon. We want to leave you with a question.
How do you all watching stay in a positive mindset, whether you have an addiction or not?
Thank you guys so much. We will see you sometime soon. If not one of our last videos in LA, we'll see you on a big journey. We're going to vlog our journey to Washington, so stay tuned for that. We love you guys, but we'll see you sometime soon.
Big kiss.
Big hug.
Big hug. Big love. Mwah.
Sober love.
Sober love.
so proud of you.
Thank you. I've been sober 17 days and we move in 17 days. It's not 2 weeks. I love you.